Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Hopefully YouTube lets us get some audio out on this one. But again, it's the first indoors inauguration in 40 years. And the last time it was number 40, Ronald Reagan. You add in the gematria piece, and you see where the 40 gets extra interesting. Indoors equates to 40. Again, if you're new here. DC is known as the Masonic City. Masonry is based in Kabbalah. Within Kabbalah, there's something called gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words. I started to look into this once upon a time for these exact reasons, realizing how important Masonry was to this nation's history, the capital, and a lot of things that are influential in the U.S., a la professional sports, where every major American sport is credited to a Freemason. Football's credited to Walter Camp. Baseball's credited to Abner Doubleday. Basketball's credited to Naismith. Again, you learn this code, you'll be laughing at everything. You know, the NFL game just wrapped up tonight. Buffalo beat the Ravens 27-25 because the guy paid $11 million a year, couldn't catch a 3-foot pass. But in gematria, Buffalo equals 27, Ravens equals 25. Buffalo wins 27-25, eliminating the Ravens on Edgar Allan Poe's birthday when they're named after his poem, The Raven. Again, it's nothing but ritualism in this country. And for anyone going, well, they're only doing it because it's so cold outside. Again, weather control is a real thing. And if you want to understand weather control, learn gematria. And you'll see how influenced the weather is by the numbers. But again, Donald Trump, who ran on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan, just like Ronald Reagan. And remember, Obama did tell the joke on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan at the White House Correspondents' Dinner that Trump would become number 45 days before Trump's birthday. That was back on April 30th, 2011. It's a reminder they etch on the Masonic Temple all his number. But yes, Ronald Reagan and Trump both ran on MAGA. Again, they're both Hollywood actors. They're both lifelong Democrats who converted to the Republican Party just in time for their political careers. And for one more parallel, you know, they both went through assassination hoaxes before being reelected. And now you have this, the 40 years later, the indoors inauguration. So again, learn your gematria. If you're wondering how you get these numerical values, in case you're new here, it's based on the alphabetic order in numerology. This is what I consider the most important cipher. I learned about this cipher in Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages from 1926. That's what year that book was published. Manly P. Hall, the honorary Freemason. But again, the alphabetic order. I is the first letter in indoors. I is the 9th letter. N is the 14th letter of the alphabet. The numerology of 14 is 1 plus 4 is 5. That's why N is 5. D is the 4th letter. O is the 15th letter. The numerology of 15 is 1 plus 5 is 6. R is the 18th letter. 1 plus 8 is 9. S is the 19th letter. 19 is 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. Convert each letter to a number using the alphabetic order and numerology, and then you add it all up. 9 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 9 plus 1 indoors equates to 40. And they really should start teaching this in school, because then every child could learn to see what a joke their federal government is and literally how controlled and manipulated things are. You know, the children in no time would notice the pattern with the national news stories of the school shootings. They'd say, wow, it's always the same numbers. And they'd learn a lot more besides that as well. But yeah, that is the day and age we live in. Contrived news, contrived weather, rigged selections, satanic actors as president. God bless America, so they say. Until next time, Truth Seeker. Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It's Grumpy Old Men White House edition. I want you to see how they report this. It's maddening. It's maddening that they do this to us every day, and almost no one gets it. Trump signs executive actions in front of thousands of supporters at the Capital One Arena. President Donald Trump signed a slew of executive actions in front of thousands of supporters at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. on Monday. He started with rescinding 78 78 Biden era executive actions, according to Trump's new staff secretary, Will Scharf. I mean, are you kidding me? 78? Again, Donald Trump's 78 years old. Again, there's 78 cards in the tarot deck. The top cards are Trump cards. Of course, Joe Biden, when he took office back in 2021, he was 78 years old. Trump's even older because he's further into 78 than Biden was. Remember, there's a lot of things that are special about 78, but again, you bring in the Kabbalistic piece of encoding numbers into words. Remember, Inauguration Day, which wasn't always January 20th, it's the 201st day of the nation's age. D.C. is where the Jesuits set up camp when they came to America. Again, both Biden and Trump are Jesuit educated. They might be in different political parties, but they're part of that Jesuit cabal that runs the federal city. Again, look at it. The Jesuit Order 201, the date can be written 20/1, and again, you measure from July 4th to today. It's the 201st day of the nation's age. Jesuit 78. And again, there's a lot more words that go with that list, such as Cleveland. Again, Trump had his convention in Cleveland in 2016. Now he's back as the nation's second split-term president. Grover Cleveland was the first. Don't forget, split term equals 132. It's 132 years since Grover Cleveland's second term began. Going with the 132 rooms in the White House. Going with United States of America equaling 132. Going with this country being named on September 9th, 1776, 132 days from the Illuminati being founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. But yeah, again, just everything having to be so numerical, so ritualistic. Don't forget, Scottish Rite also equates to 78, and the rites of the Scottish Rite were written by Jesuit priests. And of course, D.C. has the Scottish Rite headquarters, the House of the Temple, within its city limits. But God, it's just, again, I don't know why more people don't catch on. And so many people, you present this to them, they're like, are you trying to say like numerology? Because numerology's stupid. It's like, okay. I'm not necessarily going to disagree with you that numerology is stupid. What I'm trying to get you to see is this is what the authorities do every day. And again, Masonry is based in Kabbalah. That's why they etch on the temple Allah's number. Numerology might be stupid, but what do you say about the person who doesn't catch on to what they're doing every single day? These number rituals. Like the one everyone overlooked on September 11th, 2001. You remember that one? No, they've done a lot more controversial 78 rituals in history, like when they started the scandemic 78 days after Jesuit-educated Anthony Fauci's birthday. That's an even bigger one. Wuhan coronavirus 78, you know what I mean? Simulated with event 201, you know what I mean? But yeah, the chump is back, and the sheep have fallen for it. And don't forget who told you this would happen 4 years ago. Until next time, Truth Seeker. Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Trump's base is super stoked about his address today in Switzerland, the land of the bankers and the Templars. His address to the World Economic Forum, where he demanded lower interest rates and lower oil prices. And again, of course, the World Economic Forum is run by his Jesuit-educated buddy, Klaus Schwab, just like Trump is Jesuit-educated himself, having gone to Fordham. And again, I don't really care what Trump said today at the World Economic Forum. I'm still waiting for the apology for what he did on January 21st, 2020 at the World Economic Forum. And it's because the American people don't know what he did that day that they even thought about voting for this chump. Again, you guys, go back to the end of 2019 and 2020, major events that the mainstream media still hasn't covered to this day, where Donald Trump's been in the spotlight the whole time. They let this one slip through the cracks and gave it no focus. Remember, October 18th, 2019, the World Economic Forum simulated the coronavirus pandemic with Event 201. And 201 is a very special number to the Jesuits. Part of the reason Trump buried his ex-wife on the 201st day of the year after she died exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year on the same day he said he'd run in the 60th election. But anyway, Event 201 was simulated. It was the World Economic Forum along with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the CDCs from China and the U.S. and a few of the major vaccine companies and big banks. Again, simulating this pandemic that would last 18 months that would change the world. And that was done the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China. And then, of course, shortly after that, the pandemic began in China. And on the day that the first case outside of China was confirmed in the world in Seattle, Washington, in Bill Gates' backyard in the land of the world's biggest needle, the Space Needle, right across the street from his foundation, that was January 21st, 2020. On that same day, the chump was at the World Economic Forum gloating about his trade deal with China. Like it's some kind of coincidence. And remember, they said that case arrived on January 15th, but was confirmed on the 21st. Trump signed off on his trade deal with China January 15th, and he called it the China virus. And then again, you add in the gematria piece, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. Trump just happened to be speaking in Davos January 21st, 2020, the 222nd day of his age, 222, like how in gematria World Economic Forum equals 222, Wuhan coronavirus equals 222, order out of chaos equals 222. And don't forget they made Trump part of the festivities on September 11th, 2001, because that day, the day of that tragedy with the 19 hijackers, was exactly 222 months before the pandemic was declared on March 11th, 2020. New York equals 222, and that's also where the Event 201 simulation is. So yeah, all this praise for Trump today at the World Economic Forum. You guys, this is the same stooge and puppet on strings that was installed in 2016 and reinstalled in 2024, as we called both times, way before it happened. And again, this is the guy trying to get street cred through these little, meaningless showings. But who you really have to know who this man is the puppet on strings where everything's orchestrated by the numbers. And by the way, if you haven't read my book, Number Games, that came out in 2020, I talked about this address and how he spoke at 11:47 a.m. sharp. Again, 47 minutes after the hour. Part of the reason we said years ago why he'd return likely as number 47. Of course, in gematria, Trump equals 47. And just for the record, Davos, Switzerland equals Donald John Trump. These things aren't an accident. Remember, his daddy was born in Bavaria, or his grandfather, actually, where the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, and Klaus Schwab's from the same region. We'll leave it there for now, and until next time, True Seeker. Welcome back, True Seeker. Shout out to Jeff Young. He asked me to cover this tragic passing of John Sykes, the guitarist of Thin Lizzy and Whitesnake. Of course, Jeff Young, guitarist himself, made his name with the band Megadeth and is still making his name, making his own music that's underappreciated. And again, shout out to Jeff Young. You guys should check out his radio program, Music Without Boundaries. Again, he's been promoting this knowledge on his own show and elsewhere since 2015. But yeah, the story is that John Sykes died from cancer, and he died at 65. And we've talked about that number 65 a good deal over the years with musicians. Again, if you're new here, gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. For you people in the UK, stop and listen to the song Murder by Numbers by The Police. Or if you're anywhere in the world for that matter, stop and listen to that song about how killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3, and it's the sport of the elected. There's a song from the American band Slipknot, Gematria, the killing name. In gematria, music equals 65, guitarist equals 65, and in this case, United Kingdom equals 65, because that's where John Sykes is from. And the day he died, January 20th, that's the 201st day of the nation's age over here in the U.S. Of course, his music's big over here in the States. where we speak English, which came from the United Kingdom. But throughout the world, it's written 20/1 like 201. And something very interesting about the 201 and his death is that he died 322 days after the anniversary of the Thunder and Lightning album by Thin Lizzy. And 322 and 201 are two related numbers for multiple reasons. For one, the Illuminati. Founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, died on the 322nd day of the year, 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. And the Illuminati, one of these Kabbalistic secret societies, again, Kabbalah is mostly associated with Judaism. In Gematria, Jewish mysticism equals 201. The most prominent thing in Jewish mysticism is Kabbalah, where the tree of life has 3 pillars and 22 paths. That's why Genesis 3:2-2 mentions the tree of life and knowing good and evil. Again, there's a good half and an evil half to Kabbalah. I think you know what half we're talking about here. Again, 201, very special number to the Jesuits. Again, the Illuminati was founded by a Jesuit. The Jesuit order equals 201, like Order of Illuminati. The Holy Bible equals 201. And Kabbalah is centered on the first 5 books of the Bible. And within those first 5 books, there's Genesis 46 about sacrifice. And notice, 322 days is also 46 weeks. Genesis 46 is about sacrifice. The word sacrifice equals 46 in Gematria. And the day he died, or at least the day that the news broke, January 20th, 25, it had an abbreviated date numerology of 46. Now notice from his own birthday, July 29th, to his passing was 175 days, or that's 25 weeks. The rock star dead exactly 25 weeks after his birthday to start 2025. Death equals 25, like rock, like time. And there's a number of other things that are interesting here too. If you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology. He's also died 62 days shy of the 38th anniversary of Whitesnake's self-titled album. Sacrifice also equals 62, and death also equals 38. The word murder is 38, so is the word killing, so is the word RIP. And again, if you look up the murder movie poster for murder by numbers, they code the E into a 3 and a B into a 8, so you have a 3-8 in the word murder by numbers, the title, I should say. Again, show business is deadly business, and 65, not all that long to live. And again, just so precise, 25 weeks after his birthday. So RIP to John Sykes. And if you're new here, you should look more into this knowledge, because pretty much all your favorite stars, especially the ones that went at very young ages, you can see the redundant patterns in these same numbers we're talking about here. We're talking about all the time. Until next time, True Seeker. Welcome back, True Seeker. Cover a few stories here that are buzzing. For all of you guys who don't like the cell phone videos, my analytics show that more people watch my videos on a cell phone than anything else. Of course, I do plenty of videos on the computer. All my live streams are that way. But I just ask you to bear with the cell phone videos. So, popular hip-hop group 3 6 Mafia. Remember, they lost their member Gangsta Boo in the New Year's ritual not long ago. Now, prominent member Project Pat, his son, Junior, has been killed. And 3 6 Mafia is out of Memphis, where MLK was killed. This news about his son's death did not break until 3 days after MLK Day. And if you read the story, his son had died 13 days earlier on January 10th. And it's no accident that they saved this news for this week. Consider that MLK was killed on 4/4, kind of like how Malcolm X was killed on 44 date numerology. 3 6 Mafia, the hip-hop group, has the song 44th Street Killers. And in gematria, kill equals 44. If you don't know what gematria is, it's elementary. It's the simple practice of coding numbers into words. A, B, C is 1, 2, 3. Kills 44, executions 44, shootings 44. It's a deadly number. A lot of 44s in history. And keep in mind, this was buzzing at the same time Trump, who was the 44th person to be president. Yeah, I know he was number 45 and now 47, but remember Grover Cleveland had that split term that messed up the count. But this was buzzing on the same day that Trump said he's going to release all the files for the assassinations of MLK, RFK, and JFK. So they're buzzing on the same days. If you're new here, 144, it's a major kill code. There's a reason that JFK was shot 144 days from meeting with the Pope. There's a reason that RFK died at 1:44 in the morning. I could have wrote it up here. If you spell out April 4th as words, it equals 144, just like Jesuit order, just like Imogene Heights. And Imogene Heights is where Project Pat's son was killed, most recently on January 10th. Now look at this. MLK was killed in the year 68, like RFK. Again, the year of years. Call it the year of the CIA takeover. Notice how from Project Pat's last birthday to the day his son was actually killed, January 10th, that was 337 days later. That is the 68th prime number. Again, MLK killed in 68. It's bothering me right now that I cannot remember the rapper who got shot outside the cookie store in Memphis on the day leaving 44 days left in the year. We talked about how he had that album in tribute to MLK. I know he had an album called King of Memphis. I cannot think of his name right now. I know everyone in Memphis knows this rapper's name, but if you go back and look, that man died 68 months after releasing King of Memphis. We covered that at the time. As soon as I finish this video, his name's going to come right into my head. That was a few years back now. There was a lot more to his death as well. But again, this entire world of celebrity, entertainment, murder, it's all connected. And notice, Project Pat's son's name is Patrick Houston Jr. And he died the night after the Grizzlies lost to Houston. And here's the kicker. It was the Grizzlies' 38th game, right? Again, notice how in gematria basketball equates to 68. If you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language. The alphabetic order, A, B, C is 1, 2, 3, up to Z is 26. Run in the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1, back to A is 26, in both orders with numerology applied. The 4 base ciphers, it's a system. But about the Grizzlies' 38th game, the basketball team in Memphis, Memphis has the gematria 38 like death. And it's a big number with the boule. It's a big number with killing. Just to remind you some things about Martin Luther King Jr.'s family in light of this news break in the week of the MLK death. The brother of MLK was found drowned on July 21st, the day leaving 163 days left in the year. That's the 38th prime. Death equals 38 like drowned. Again, if you're new here, look up the movie poster for Murder by Numbers. The E's changed to the 3, the B's changed to the 8. Murder has that gematria 38. The big way, Murder's 83. Memphis is the same way. Memphis is 83 and 38 as well. Murder by Numbers, the song where killings as simple as A, B, C is 1, 2, 3 came out in 83. The star of that movie, Sandra Bullock, whose name equals 83. That movie came out 38 weeks after her birthday. Again, killing, death, R.I.P., gematria, English, Kabbalah. All 38. This code comes from Kabbalah, gematria. Look up the song Gematria, the Killing Name. That's done by the band Slipknot, who's lost 2 members in 38 rituals as well. Also, more recently, Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter died on the Boule's birthday, and that was May 15th, 2007. She died in Santa Monica. A lot of celebrities die suspiciously there. Another 38 town like Memphis. But notice how the boule equates to 34 and 38. For the record, murder equals 34, 38. So does Memphis. Memphis 34, 38. MLK dies in Memphis. Family with boule connections. A lot of people in the entertainment celebrity world that are darker complected are in the boule. So, again, these things are recurring patterns, super redundant, and again, it's this gang up here, the Jesuits, who are behind a lot of these secret societies. Again, the Jesuits gave us the calendar as we know it, the Gregorian calendar that says I'm doing this video today, Friday, January 24th. This calendar comes from the Jesuit priest Christopher Clavius. You look into the English language, the oldest script goes back to the Catholic Church. English was standardized with the 26-letter alphabet at the end of the 16th century. At the same time, the Gregorian calendar was implemented. And again, you look through history, you can see it is all Jesuit ritual. Coming back to MLK, never forget, Martin Luther King Jr. assumed the name. He changed his name. He was born Michael. He changed his name to Martin Luther after the Protestant Reformation leader who wrote the 95 Theses. Martin Luther King Jr. ends up getting killed on the 95th day of the year, April 4th, 68. April 4th is the 95th day in a leap year, like 68 was. Again, 201 days later, there was the nation's first gun control legislation. The jail in Memphis is known as the 201. Again, from Martin Luther penning the 95 Theses to the creation of the Jesuits, August 15, 1534, was 201 months later. Hold up. Memphis rapper killed Young Dolph, that's it. He was killed November 17th, the day leaving 44 days left in the year. I know that. Young Dolph, that's what I was trying to think of. Another 44 ritual. Again, kill, execution, shooting. Young Dolph dead 68 months after King of Memphis. Same things year after year, you guys. Same things year after year. So, again, you want to be in this world of celebrity, you want to make it big like a Project Pat, be prepared to give up some of your loved ones. And don't forget that in more recent time, Netflix did that series, The Fall of the House of Usher, kind of giving clues about how this world of celebrity and entertainment and power works. He has to make the deal with the devil. If he wants to make it, he can make it. But before he dies, he has to watch all of his children die. He has to watch all of his family die. So yeah, again, R.I.P. to Project Pat's young son. Yeah, again, just how they had to save the news for the week of MLK's death. Isn't it something? And by the way, if you guys didn't know, this was MLK was killed at age 39 like Malcolm X was. And this year marked exactly 39 years to the day of the first MLK holiday. And they had to assassinate the black coach on that day who played or coached for Notre Dame and used to play at Ohio State, Marcus Freeman. But Notre Dame's got that 95 connection as well. And remember the power of the knowledge. At the beginning of the year, we said the championship was going to involve two of the three teams. Had the futures in for two of the three. Ohio State, Notre Dame, or Georgia. It was going to be two of those three schools. Ended up being Ohio State over Notre Dame. And again, Kirby Smart started the year, the Georgia coach, getting his 95th win, MLK from Georgia, from Atlanta. Kirby Smart started the year at the 95th win, first-ranked game in Ireland. Johnny Gaudreau, the Columbus Blue Jackets, number 13, dead right before Ohio State plays their first game. Number 13, Ohio State keeps Oregon on 13 wins, then Texas on 13 wins, then Notre Dame on 13 championships. Again, this is the wicked game. It's where the phrase comes from, your number's up. All is number. Your days are numbered. And you start to learn this code. You start to see the entertainment world, gematria, the killing name, murder by numbers. Simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. Agatha Christie has a novel out there, the ABC Murders. Same things over and over. So, again, R.I.P. And until next time, True Seeker. Welcome back, True Seeker. In the headlines, hip-hop star DJ Unk, remembered for his song Walk It Out, dead at 42. But in the last 30 minutes, the headlines are changing to dead at 43. And do you remember who this happened to before? Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman, dead at 42. But then all of a sudden, he was dead at 43. And don't forget, Chadwick Boseman died on the makeshift Jackie Robinson Day because they had to shift it because of the Cooties 19. Just made it line up so perfectly. And remember, they shifted Jackie Robinson Day to August 28th, which is Jack Kirby's birthday, who wrote the Black Panther. And, of course, the actual Jackie Robinson in World War II was in the tank brigade known as the Black Panthers. But anyhow, now it's DJ Unk, dead at 42. But again, you do a search right now, you're going to see that everything has turned to 43. So here was the initial reporting. Anthony Leonard Platt, known professionally as DJ Unk, an influential figure in Atlanta's hip-hop scene and a pioneer of the snap music subgenre, has passed away, according to TMZ. Sometimes I think TMZ's like Nightcrawler. You've never seen that movie with Jake Gyllenhaal? He's doing evil things to make the news. TMZ, first on the scene. We just found DJ Unk hunked over on the toilet. Breaking. DJ Unk dies at 42, Essence reports. What we know, Platt passed away on January 24th. It's like Jackie Robinson lost his son at 24. Platt passed away on January 24, 2025. Both TMZ and Essence magazine are reporting his death. His wife, Anthony Leonard Platt, first announced his passing on her social media on Friday, asking for respect for her family. Please respect me and my family. I just lost my husband and my kids just lost their father. Our life will never be the same. I love you, Anthony, forever, the post read. He is remembered as a leader of the snap music movement, with his hits continuing to resonate in clubs and on playlists nationwide. Who was Anthony Leonard Platt? Dig deeper. Born on November 28th, 1982, so that means he would have turned 42, 2024. However, everything right now, from Wikipedia to Google to IMDb, is rewriting his birthday is 1981. This is exactly what they did with Chadwick Boseman. By the way, 42, this number stamped all over Black history. The number gains its significance when you learn the Kabbalistic code of letters and numbers known as gematria. It's not nice what 42 is in Black history. And you can see that's used ritualistically all the time. You know, back in the O.J. Simpson trial, Mark Furman's secretary took the stand and she said she heard Mark Furman use the N-word 42 times in a single conversation. But you have to think about something like that. Is that just all theater? Because, of course, the whole O.J. thing was. I mean, he was literally a Hollywood actor. He'd just done Naked Gun 33 and a third. But seriously, who sits there and tallies how many times somebody uses a certain word? And 42 times the N-word? In gematria, the N-word equals 42. So does slavery. So does Tuskegee. So does February, Black History Month. So does Jackie. So does Martin. So does Malcolm X. So does Muhammad Ali. And on and on and on. 42 is this number all over Black history. So, again, he's dead at 42, and then within an hour of the headlines hitting, everyone's rewriting it as 43. And I think this is part of because the world's catching on to what's going on. But born November 28, 1982 in Atlanta. Keep in mind he's dead the week of MLK Day, right? He's dead the week of MLK Day. It's like how we talked about how Project Pat's son is announced dead in the week of MLK Day when he's associated with Memphis, where MLK was taken out by the code. Platt rose to fame in the mid-2000s with his breakout hit single, Walk It Out. Now, look, you guys, this is where it is. November 28th is the day leaving 33 days left in the year, right? So 33 plus 24, since he's dead on the 24th day of the year, that's 57, right? So he's obviously dead 57 days after his birthday. Look at this, you guys. Look at the gematria of Walk It Out. If you're new here, these are the 4 base ciphers of the English language. The alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. When you run it in reverse with numerology, Walk It Out is 57. When you run it forwards with numerology, it's 33, like the day he's born, the day leaving 33 days left in the year. And this is what we see again and again in show business. These people die in connection to the works they're remembered for. That song was huge, you know. It makes me think, where did the time go? I was just a young man when that was a new song. But anyway, again, for all of you aspiring entertainers, you know, be prepared to give away your mom, your dad, your wife, your children, because that's what goes on in this entertainment industry. Again, you think about those phrases that you know you've heard. Your number's up. Your days are numbered. Where do these phrases come from? You learn this knowledge, it all makes perfect sense. And you see how this stuff's going on day after day. And just to show you that, actually, I need to take a screenshot of that before this one doesn't even exist anymore. This is the only news network that hasn't updated it to 43. Yeah, I was taking my sweet time to do this post because I'm here with the little one. And then I realized, I was like, wait a minute, every headline's turned into 43? Look at this. Variety's now 43. AJC's now 43. The Hindu's Times is 43. Come on, man. There again, where all of those words equate to 42 in the base ciphers that I was saying earlier, there's a related cipher system called Septenary Chaldean, and the phrase African American equates to 43 and 44 in those respective ciphers. Remember, Obama, the first black president elected as number 44 years after the Civil Rights Act, he was actually the 43rd person to be president because Grover Cleveland with his split term messed up the count. So there's really a relation with 42, 43, and 44 to black history. And, of course, MLK and Malcolm X got killed in 44 rituals, and that's a whole nother story. But, yeah, this man's gone from 42 to 43. And even the initial TMZ headline was 42. Now it's 43. It's crazy, man. It is crazy. Yeah, I didn't decode past that. I'm sure there's more to it, but really, you know, I realize most people, you give them one little decode in numbers, that's probably already overwhelming. It's just the big thing to take away is 57 days after his birthday and the fact that they're changing his age of death. Thanks again to everyone who helps get out the knowledge. Again, if more people knew about this, I think they would stop sacrificing these people. I think they can only do it because they can still get away with it and people are clueless. I don't know how they're clueless because it's going on all the time, but again, knowledge is power. More people need the knowledge. Until next time. Welcome back, True Seeker. Pete Hegseth, the Fox News guy with the Templar tattoos on his chest, who was nominated on the Superior General's birthday to lead the Pentagon as the Secretary of Defense, has been confirmed Friday, January 24th, 2025. And to make a long story short, again, the Superior General serves the Pope. Today is 38 days after the Pope's December 17th birthday. In Gematria, Pentagon equals 38. Again, he's now the head of the Pentagon, which sits on the 38th parallel north. And again, it's essentially the nation's killing department. Remember, the band Slipknot did that nice song for our nation, Gematria, the killing name. America is a killing name and will burn your cities down. The word Gematria equals 38, like English, like energy, like killing, like murder, like death. All 38, that deadly number. Again, look up the movie poster for Murder by Numbers. They changed the E to a 3 and a B to a 8 in the words. 38, murder. But yeah, think about it. This guy was nominated on November 12th, the Superior General's birthday, the leader of the Jesuits. And what's the Jesuit Order's logo? A sun with the Templar cross in the middle. He's got the Templar tattoos on his chest. Today is the 74th day of the Superior General's age. Remember, Holy Roman Empire equals 74. Cross equals 74. Those words I was just saying that equal 38, a lot of them also equal 74. The difference is one you use the alphabetic order, the other use the alphabetic order with numerology, which gives you a smaller value. So the word killing, if you don't apply numerology, killing equals 74, like cross, like Jesus, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. Again, the story of Jesus is the gospel. Jesus speaks in parables. All of these words are encoded equaling 74. Gematria, English, energy all equate to 74, just like holiday and Independence Day. Again, this nation's birthday is 7-4. Masonic is 74. George Washington is 74. D.C., the Masonic city named after the Freemason George Washington, when the rites of modern Freemasonry, most of them were written by Jesuit priests. Anyhow, perfect ritual here for Pete Hegseth. 38 days after the Pope's birthday, chosen to lead the Pentagon. And let's also not forget that Secretary of Defense equates to 193, which is the 44th prime number. He's 44 years old. Words like military, soldier, infantry, trooper, officer, they all equate to 44. So, and Trump's first Secretary of Defense, his first go-around was Mad Dog Mattis. The nickname Mad Dog is 44. The surname Mattis is 44. When Trump and Mad Dog Mattis had their falling out, it was 193 days from Trump's birthday. Again, nothing but news by the numbers, but it's symbolic too. I mean, all this stuff is symbolism. And by the way, just with the war going on in Israel, bringing over a guy with Templar tattoos on his chest. Again, the Templars waged the Crusades against the Muslims. Don't forget that Jewish equals 74. And don't forget that Gaza was 74 years old when this war began, and they started doing a lot of killing in Gaza. Yeah, don't forget that one either. Because now we got the Crusader as the head of the Pentagon. And it reminds me of when George W. Bush was the president, and he referred to what we did in the Middle East after 9/11 as a crusade. Think all that Roman architecture all over the Capitol. Think about how the Jesuits set up camp in D.C. Think about how the first recognized president was George Washington, established as the president the same year Georgetown opened up, 1789. And for all you guys who don't think the Jesuits run this nation, I mean, explain it to me. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You remember when the Pope came to D.C., the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, on the 266th day of the year, he spoke in D.C.? It's like time stop for him. The Jesuit motto is Sus Hominum Salvator 266. But yeah, the head of the Pentagon, 38 days after the Pope's birthday. Until next time, Truth Seeker. Jeranism. Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Saturday, January 25th, 2025, Trump proposed a plan to move the 1.5 million people still living in Gaza to Jordan and Egypt. And today he spoke to Jordan's leader about it. Tomorrow, Sunday, January 26th, he'll speak to Egypt's leader about it. And notice how they're emphasizing this phrase, clean out the whole thing. Recall, before this war began, the day Netanyahu came back into power, I predicted that a major war would begin in Israel right around the time Yale turned 322 years old. Again, Order 322, Skull and Bones, is out at Yale, and they have a lot to do with world affairs. Clean out the whole thing just happens to be a gematria phrase that equates to 322. Remember, Abrahamic religions equals 322. Ancient mystery religions equals 322. The most prominent of the ancient mystery religions is Kabbalah, based in the Tree of Life, where this whole gematria thing comes from, the practice of coining numbers into words. But the Tree of Life has 3 pillars and 22 paths, and is mentioned in Genesis 3:22, knowing good and evil. Now, think about one of the most prominent Skull and Bones members, George W. Bush, who graduated from Yale Skull and Bones in 1968, the same year World Trade Center construction began in New York, the same year 911 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code, the same year Boeing debuted its jumbo jetliners in light of all Boeing planes being involved in 9/11 and Boeing being founded by a Yale Skull and Bones member and everything else that had to do with 1968 and the big day 9/11. Of course, what happened in Israel that began this war, they called it Israel's 9/11, and it happened on October 7th, 22 years to the day of the U.S. invading Afghanistan after 9/11. Again, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan October 7th, 2001. Don't forget, Rudy Giuliani was the 107th mayor of New York. 9/11 happened on the 107th day of his age. Military equals 107. October 7th leaves 85 days left in the year. Templar equals 85. The Templars waged the Crusades against the Muslims. Skull and Bones Order 322 at Yale gets their symbolism from how the Templars bury their dead. George W. Bush, the Skull and Bones member, the Order 322 member, referred to what we did in the Middle East after 9/11 as a crusade. Okay. If you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. The war began Saturday, October 7th, 2023. Trump made this proposal on a Saturday, exactly 68 weeks after the war began, while Israel is 76 years old. Notice the gematria of Donald John Trump: 68, 76. The leader of Jordan, who he spoke to today, was born in 62 and is 62 years old at the tail end of being 62. He'll turn 63 on the 30th of this month. But it's interesting how this lines up because both Jordan and Egypt equal 62. The proposal is to move the 1.5 million Gazans to Jordan and Egypt. And realize if that happens, Israel will expand into that territory. And of course, Israel's been expanding ever since it relocated, or the people of Europe relocated down to that region. Remember when it was first created for the Jews who wanted to escape Europe, there was a promise to the Muslim people that they would not encroach into the territory beyond what was granted in the initial setup of Israel. And of course, the boundaries have expanded and expanded and expanded and expanded, and they're going to expand a little bit more here if they move out the people of Gaza. And a lot of people are probably going to look at this as a worthy decision because it could end a conflict, and Gaza's been largely destroyed through warfare. So anyhow, just realize the timing and the ritualism. That's the point I'm making, how all of these events are connected. Don't forget it was Ehud Barak, the leader of Israel, who went on the BBC after 9/11 and said the U.S. needed to declare a war on terror and go into Afghanistan and Iraq exactly as we did. As for this 68 piece, the leader of Egypt became the leader on June 8th, which can be written 6-8. And from his November 19th birthday, November 19th is the day leaving 42 days left in the year. From his November 19th birthday to Trump's meeting with him tomorrow, or their discussion on the 26th, well, that's obviously 68 days later. So all this 68 business, exactly 68 weeks into the war. Keep in mind, tomorrow, Sunday, will be exactly 68 weeks after Netanyahu declared war. The war began Saturday, October 7th. Netanyahu declared war on Hamas the next day, Sunday, October 8th. And Trump's proposal came 256 days after Israel's May 14th birthday. 256 is the 201st composite number. Remember, State of Israel equals 201. Huge number that connects the creation of Israel to who really created it, which is the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. Again, there's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, and Catholic equals 145. Just like David Ben Gurion, the first prime minister, that's why it was created on the date 14/5. The Holy Bible equals 201. State of Israel 201. The Jesuit Order 201. Again, David Ben Gurion did 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. Netanyahu leaves power June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. Comes back on Albert Pike's birthday, 1229, when 1229 is the 201st prime. On and on and on. And with regards to the leader of the Jesuits, today's 74 days after his birthday. Of course, Jewish equals 74. This war began while Gaza was still 74 years old. The word killing, 74. A lot of killing in Gaza while it was 74. And the word Messiah is also 74. So is Jesus, so is cross, so is gospel, so is parables. Remember the headlines from when Trump was 74 years old coming out of Israel? That was 4 years ago. About how some people believed he was the Messiah, and it was foretold through Hebrew gematria. We were telling you back then they were going to resurrect his political career and bring him back as the latest Grover Cleveland in 2025, and here we are. Now he's going to bring peace to the Middle East, maybe, with this plan by the numbers. And don't forget, CIA. The CIA was created in a massive Jesuit ritual on the 201st day of the Pope's age. CIA, the acronym, has that 68 connection. All these intelligence networks, Israel's Mossad, the U.S.'s CIA, the KGB in the UK. You learn about the Jesuits. You see how the Jesuits run all these intelligence agencies. Don't forget that whole thing going on in Russia, Ukraine's another big 201 debacle. That's why Biden sent $95 billion on the 201st day of the war in Israel to Israel and Ukraine. Of course, a lot of people in Israel, their ancestry goes back to ancient Khazaria, where the war's going on with Russia and Ukraine. And let's not forget the war with Russia and Ukraine came shortly after Biden and Putin met 201 days into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. So yeah, we'll see where this goes, but just realize it's got those CIA numbers all over it. 68 weeks into the war. Saving the meeting for Egypt's leader. You know, hey, if you had time to meet with the Jordan guy today, why not Egypt too? But they got to save it for tomorrow, 68 days after his birthday. I always say 1968, the year of years where so many plans went into motion. It's the year fentanyl was approved by the feds. It's the year C-19 was coined. Yeah. Israel had to take on the most experimental pokey-dokes, didn't they? Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Until next time, True Seeker. Welcome back, True Seeker. Bird flu's got me bird blue, as you can see with my typo. But of course, we're talking about the bird flu restrictions put in place across England and Scotland on January 25th, 2025. People are going to have to bring their birds indoors. They're talking about the rocketing egg prices. Man, if you get a dozen for $7, I'll let you know this if it makes you feel any better, England. Out here in Washington State, man, $7 would be a great price. It's more like $10 at the store near my house right now. It's been that way for over a month. But look at it, you guys. They say the first case of bird flu was confirmed in the UK on November 22nd. Fateful day, poor JFK. From November 22nd to the restrictions going in place January 25th was a span of 65 days. And remember, the first death here in the U.S. from bird flu, they said was somebody over age 65. That was how they phrased it. It's like, can we just get the age of death over 65? But again, you learn gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. You see through the ritualism. You remember the big scam that went on worldwide? The end of 2019 really got wild with the WHO declaring it a scandemic on March 11th, 2020. Remember that one? With the 65s all over it, where the World Economic Forum simulated the scandemic October 18th, 2019, the day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China. Remember how they simulated that 65 million people died over the course of 18 months? And the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation partnered up to help run that simulation, and they ran it 65 days from Melinda's birthday. And then the scandemic went down in 2020, the year that Bill Gates turned 65, and the billion other 65 things that went on with the scandemic that we documented. I wrote a book about. Most people didn't read it. Number Games, 9/11 to Coronavirus. There's probably about 50 copies of it floating around in the UK. Should be about 5 million. Should be one for every person on that island. But anyway. You just learn the gematria, you just see through the rituals. On the 65th day of having a case of cooties, or this is the new cooties, this is the booties, the bird flu. On the 65th day, they got to put the restrictions in place. And of course, United Kingdom equals 65 as well. Notice when you write out England and Scotland, that's how they're phrasing it. England and Scotland got the restrictions. England and Scotland, 65. And just in case you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language. 4 base ciphers. The alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. Notice how England and Scotland also equates to 97. Of course, the word death equals 97, but 97 is the 25th prime number. Bird flu restrictions also equals 97. And I told you at the beginning of the year, watch for the 97-25 pattern because you know it's going to be all over. Next thing you know, LA was burning up on the 97th day of the mayor's age. And of course, fire also equals 25. But this is how these people work. And that's how you can see that it's ritualism and it's contrived and it's done purposefully for agenda. Again, they know how to scare people out of their rights and liberties. And just to show you the reporting over here, the first bird flu death, the person was over 65. First case with the death was in Louisiana. It was reported on the 6th day of the first month, the day before LA caught on fire by the numbers. But you can see where Louisiana and pandemic also fit in, and over 65, and a reminder what they did with Event 201, where 65 million died 65 days from Melinda's birthday. Again, bird flu's also 45. It's 2025, which has a square root of 45. There's 45s all over the news this year as well. Started off with a bang with a New Orleans shooting, and then a shooting in New York on New Year's Day, and an explosion at Trump Tower after the Trumpet Town tragedy. Never in New Orleans. It's named after Louis Armstrong, the trumpeter. But yeah, that first bird flu death was 56 days after the Superior General's birthday, and of course that was the number all over the scandemic. Every which way you looked. Boris Johnson in the hospital at age 56. Who can forget it? Bad Barbershop Brothers, the scandemic, declared 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began. Who could forget it? Tell you what, all the people who never knew about it. That's who. It's too bad so few know about this knowledge, because it does reveal all, every single day, from the UK to across the world. Remember, I mean, we're talking about English and the Jesuits and the Catholic Church. At the end of the 16th century, the Catholic Church implemented the Gregorian calendar and standardized the English language with the 26-letter alphabet, and this code is used worldwide because English is taught worldwide. They're the colonizers. They're the conquerors. That's why over here, we're speaking English, even though the early citizens of the United States of America wanted to speak German. But yeah, you think this stuff's a coincidence every day. You're that special brand of stupid the cabal helped create. And that's why they get away with this shit, because people are so dumb. Don't be a dummy. Don't get the bird blue. Till next time, True Seeker. Welcome back, True Seeker. The National Fixed League Conference Championships are today, Sunday, January 26, 2025, the 5th anniversary of the death of Kobe Bryant. Here's something almost every fan will overlook. 33 years ago today, the Commanders, who were then the Redskins, defeated the Buffalo Bills in Super Bowl 26. 26, and here we are on the 26th. And the Eagles and Commanders have met one time in the playoffs, and the score of that game was 20-6, 26 points. It's the 2 seed versus the 6 seed. The Eagles winning their first playoff game of the year made them 26-26 in the playoffs. They got Saquon Barkley this year, number 26, whose whole season's been synced with Charles Barkley, who used to also play in Philly. But here's what's wild. If you go back and look, the Commanders were named the Commanders from the Redskins to the Commanders February 2nd, 2022, the 33rd day of the year. And Super Bowl 26 was 33 years ago today. And from the renaming of the team to today is 1,089 days later, 1089. 1,089 has a square root of 33. DC is known as the Masonic City. The number 33 is associated with the Masons due to the Scottish Rite. Today's also 137 days after the coach's birthday, Dan Quinn, which is the 33rd prime. Of course, in Gematria, Washington, D.C. equals 137. Masonry equals 33, as does order, as does secrecy, as does federal. 2 federal cities are playing each other. Philadelphia was once the capital. Again, there's a lot more to all of this. The point is, all of these games are rigged and scripted. They're always paying tribute to the Masonic Brotherhood because American football is credited to the Freemason Walter Camp. Of course, the Camp surname equates to 33 as well. But again, all is number. Sports are all about numbers. All is numbers, what's etched on the Masonic temple. And a lot of these numbers just so recurring. So if you want to get in on a little more information, sign up for the Patreon, get some intel. Week after week, we cash on player props, the games, learn how to turn a small bill into a big one. The games are rigged. The games are scripted. It's undeniable. You just need the right knowledge to see through it. By the way, here's one more. Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl. Last week was 162 days after his birthday. The Chiefs became 16-2. The Commanders became 14-5. Doug Williams equals 145 in gematria. Doug Williams with the Louisiana connections like Jaden Daniels. Commanders' best season in 33 years. Remember, Washington Commanders equals 91. They changed their name in the 91st season, and the last time they went to the Super Bowl was the 91-92 season. Home teams in the playoffs, 8-2 coming into this game. Anyway, we'll leave it there. The big takeaway is the 33 years and also the 26 thing. And don't forget that Bryant equals 26, as in Kobe, who died on this day 5 years ago. Bryant equals 26 from Philly. His death spawned Mahomes, the Super Bowl winning machine, which started 1 week later in Super Bowl 54 when Kobe Bean Bryant equals 54. Anyhow, that's all for now, Truth Seeker. Come join us on Patreon, and until next time. Welcome back, Truth Seeker. January 27th, 2025. CNN has a headline tonight. 1 week in, Trump has issued 54 executive actions. Read what they are. Of course, 54 should remind you of They Live, where Cable 54 is the enemy of the world. It should also remind you of the Jesuit order, which it seems like They Live was truly about, whose headquarters is at the Church of the Jesus Building 54. It goes with John Carroll establishing the first Jesuit university at age 54. And it goes with gematria, where Jesuit order equates to 54, just like John Carroll. And of course, Donald Trump, Jesuit educated at Fordham. So here it is, 54 executive actions. As I've always explained, he's a Jesuit puppet. You learn this little simple code of ABC 1, 2, 3, and who these numbers are important to. It all starts to make a lot of sense. Again, Inauguration Day was moved to the 201st day of the year, another very special number to the Jesuits. The capital was moved to D.C., where the Jesuits set up camp, where Georgetown was established the same year George Washington became the first recognized president. But the quick breakdown is he has 19 actions that are related to the federal government and its laws. On immigration, 8 actions. On climate and energy, 6 actions. On the economy, 6. On national security, 4. On foreign policy, 3. And in the category they call other, 8. For a grand total of 54. Yeah. I'm curious about the 6 for the economy. Okay, so this has them by date. So apparently the most recent thing he did was on the 24th. January 23rd was one for the economy, strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. Again, building that digital surveillance state, you guys. Here, just, I guess, to read the list. Enforcing the Hyde Amendment, Memorandum for the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the Administration of the United States for International Development. Emergency measures to provide water resources in California and improve disaster response in certain areas. Council to assess the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Federal recognition of the Lumbee Tribe of North Carolina. Again, strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. Declassification of records concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now remember, he did that one on 1/23, like conspiracy equals 123, like there's a conspiracy of silence and government cover-up. I'm sure you look into these, they're probably all by the numbers. For the economy that day, he also did President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. On that same day, removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence. Good thing he has Larry Ellison. Our government's funding his utopian police state. On the same day, they distract with the assassinations from the 60s, where I'm sure they'll release hardly anything. I'm sure it'll be more lies and deception. Again, that's like a magic trick that got you looking away from what's being done to build the AI surveillance state. Designation of Ansar Allah as a foreign terrorist organization. Interesting. Must be another CIA asset. Ansar Allah equals 33. Of course it does. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Yeah. It does. 33. Also 183 like Order Out of Chaos. 87 like Muslim. Perfect. DEI, keeping Americans safe in aviation, ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunity, restoring names that honor American greatness, designating cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and especially designated global terrorists. We should pay extra careful attention on January 20th, day 1, 201st day of the nation's age. Restoring names that honor American greatness. How he brought back Mount McKinley, right? Like the 25th president who got shot. Talk about foreshadowing. Reforming the federal hiring process and restoring merit to government service. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferences. Defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. Establishing and implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency, America First Policy Directive to the Secretary of State. Don't forget Vivek stepped down on day 1, 201 days from his own upcoming birthday to run for governor in the 47th state, Ohio. Back where Trump had his convention in Cleveland in 2016, all foreshadowing his split term like Grover Cleveland. America First Policy Directive to the Secretary of State, protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. Is that the people in D.C.? Unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential, protecting the American people against invasion. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, Global Tax Deal. Organization of the National Security Council and subcommittees. Reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid, temporary withdrawal of all areas on the outer continental shelf from offshore wind leasing, and review of the federal government's leasing and permitting practices for wind projects, declaring a national energy emergency, restoring accountability for career senior executives. Shout out to Chris. promoting beautiful federal civic architecture, restoring the death penalty and protecting public safety, putting people over fish, stopping radical environmentalism to provide water to Southern California, securing our borders, protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship, realigning the United States Refugee Admissions Program, unleashing American energy, clarifying the military's role in protecting the territorial integrity of the United States, America First trade policy, memorandum to resolve the backlog of security clearances for Executive Office of the President personnel, declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States, holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive government information, restoring accountability to policy influencing positions within the federal workforce, withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization. You got to love how instrumental they were in the scandemic, which was all about 201 and now on the 201st day of the nation's age. Application of Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Application Act to TikTok, granting pardons and commutation of sentences for certain offenses relating to the events at or near the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. Remember, that was 201 days after the Albert Pike statue fell and the Confederate flag flew that day. Like, the day can be written 6/1, like the Civil War began in 1861 and Confederate has a gematria of 201. Like Trump burying his ex-wife 45 years after their marriage on the 201st day of the year. Putting America first in international environmental agreements. Delivering emergency price relief for American families and defeating the cost of living crisis. Hiring freeze, regulatory freeze pending review, return to in-person work, ending the weaponization of the federal government, restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. I don't think my shadow ban's changed at Google. Still deleting everyone's comments, taking away the likes and unsubscribing people. What did this really do? Initial rescissions of harmful executive orders and actions. Flying the flag of the United States at full staff on Inauguration Day. Guaranteeing the state protection against invasion. Yeah, you think these were Trump's 54 ideas, this Jesuit stooge? Probably had John Carroll write it from his grave. Yeah. Isn't it just something else to see in this day after day? We got the they live glasses on and nobody else wants to put them on, like that scene in the movie. Roddy Piper just can't get his buddy to put the glasses on. But yeah, I wanted to read those for the record so I can laugh at them 54 years from now. Until next time, True Seeker.